Both of you, please stick around for a moment. I want to turn the spotlight on Democratic mayors nationwide. Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, threatening Denver's mayor with jail time after he voiced resistance to deportation plans. Now, Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bhalla is gearing up to take on Homan for a second time. He made headlines in 2018 for tweeting, quote, "Bring it on," a response to similar threats. Bhalla designating Hoboken a sanctuary city at the time, his first official act. Joining me now is Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bhalla. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for joining us this evening. I'm going to start with this. I appreciate your bravery. I appreciate your boldness. 2018 is not 2024. You have an incoming administration that says they will literally use or attempt to use the military to forcefully deport people. As a mayor, what would you be able to do if the Trump administration says we're going to send armed troops into Hoboken and pull people out of sanctuary cities, pull people out of buildings based on whatever list that we have?
Well, thankfully, we have something called the U.S. Constitution and the Constitution of the state of New Jersey that protects our rights. In 2018, the AG Graywall passed an immigration directive that said that in the state of New Jersey, local law enforcement is supposed to be for local law enforcement and will not cooperate with federal authorities in the enforcement of immigration policies. We codified that here in Hoboken through an executive order to make sure that we expend our local tax dollars and our local resources to prioritize local issues. So if they come in, we're not afraid of the authoritarianism drumbeat of the Trump administration. We've seen that movie before. We're ready for it. We're really focused on making Hoboken a safe place from a public safety standpoint. We have a deficit in law officers. We have issues with public safety, with homelessness. We're focused on local priorities. We want our local tax dollars to be expended on local priorities, and that's what we'll do here in Hoboken.
Mr. Mayor, thank you for pointing that out also, that you have sort of a legal backing for being able to resist this. I keep seeing terrible images from that movie about 15 years ago, The Siege, where they were literally just taking people and putting them in camps in the city. My next question for you is the threat. There's a stick and a carrot, right? You know, if you obey in advance, then maybe the Trump administration would just come and yank people out of sanctuary cities. But they're also threatening to take federal funding. What do you think is a city's response to that threat? I mean, would you just be tied up in court saying, hey, the federal funds that you say that you're going to take away aren't connected to sanctuary cities? How would you fight the battle of the federal government pulling money away?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of machismo and testosterone-driven policies by the federal government. This fear-mongering about yanking people and cities like Hoboken and other cities across America harboring illegal immigrants, like we're scuttling them away in tents or closets. It's just not true. You know, mayors are on the ground. We fight, and we have a pulse of a city. Hoboken is a fair and welcoming city, and if those threats of federal funding are levied against us, they lost in the last administration. We challenged those policies. They lost because our Constitution, New Jersey, protects us. There's a bill pending in the New Jersey State Legislature, the Immigrant Trust Act, which I urge the legislature to pass quickly. And that is a codified policy which will give us protections if these threats of federal funding are actually attempted by the federal government.
And Mr. Mayor, one last question, and I so appreciate, again, I cannot express enough how much I appreciate your bravery in the face of this authoritarianism. Have you had an opportunity, or have you reached out to other mayors? Are mayors, you know, the National Alliance of Mayors, are you getting together and sort of swapping policies so that other cities that have sanctuary cities can learn how to protect themselves? Because I think that what you're laying out here might have to be a roadmap for other places around the country.
Absolutely. Mayors across America are on the front lines of defending the rights of ordinary citizens in our cities. So we always work together. We always trade ideas. We always talk about policies, develop best practices. And that time could not be more critical than right now when we are again on the front lines. I will emphasize once again that we are focused here in Hoboken on the priorities of the residents of Hoboken, and those are very bread and butter issues. And those are where our tax dollars, our budget really needs to be focused on. If the federal government wants to spend its money on fear mongering with immigrants and demonizing immigrants, let them spend their budget on that. But they're not going to spend our budget in Hoboken and other cities on these types of tactics. I can tell you that, and I can bet you many mayors across the city would say the same thing.
I would love to be on that mayoral group chat. Mayor Ravi Bhalla of Hoboken, New Jersey, thank you so much for joining us tonight on The Beat.